Joe Samaniego here wanted to invite you to go check out Publis. Publis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Publis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Adam Lemerise, and with me is Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Please feel free to comment in the chat room below and ask any questions. Tonight, we'll provide an update on the F1 fallout in Abu Dhabi. Jimmie Johnson, major announcement. Matt White's Grid World Motorsport League update. And Kaulig Racing's NASCAR 2022 Cup Series driver lineup. We'll start off with Joe Samaniego making his Grid Tonight return as he provides an update on the F1 drama we saw Sunday in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. Very excited to be back. It has been 3 days since the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the day Max Verstappen became a FIA world champion in dramatic fashion. However, that day has been clouded by the FIA officiating. Mercedes has said they are intending to appeal. They have till Thursday evening to file that appeal. The appeal will be heard by the FIA World Sporting Council, and there's so far been no news, no action taken from Mercedes. However, today, the FIA announced they will be investigating the handling of the finish of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. In the statement, one of the first parts of the statement, the circumstances surrounding the use of the safety car following the incident of driver Nicholas Latifi and related circumstances between the FIA race direction team and the Formula One teams have notably generated significant misunderstanding and reaction from Formula One teams, drivers, and fans. An argument that is currently tarnishing the image of the championship and the due celebration of the first Driver World Championship title won by Max Verstappen and the 8th consecutive Constructor World Championship title won by Mercedes. The statement continues with the following part. Following the presentation of the report regarding the sequence of events that took place following the incident on lap 53 the Grand Prix and an constant drive for improvement, the FIA president proposed to the World Motorsport Council that a detailed analysis clarifying exercise for the future that all relevant parties will now take place. The big question, essentially, does Michael Massey have the authority to bring the safety car in early to allow the race to continue and finish under green flag conditions? This all resolves around 3 sections under the FIA sporting regulation. We'll first start with the procedure of the safety car and the lap car in the FIA sporting regulation, which is Article 48.12, Paragraph 1. If the clerk of the course considers it safe to do so, and the message lap cars may now overtake has been sent to all competitors via the official messaging system, any cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass the cars on the lead lap and the safety cars. Now, we have heard people saying that not all the cars were allowed to pass. However, the rule says any car. It has been stated practice that all cars in the past were allowed to go by. That was not the case in Abu Dhabi, where only 5 out of the 8 cars were able to get by. But it's not in the rule itself that it has to be all. It's just been standard practice throughout the year. The second part of the controversy around the third paragraph in 48 48.12. And it's in that third sentence there, which you see at the bottom. Unless the clerk of the course considers the presence of the safety car is still necessary. Once the last lap car has passed the leader, the safety car will return to the pit at the end of the following lap. So it does appear straightforward that that is the procedure. The safety car should have come in and then the following lap. However, this is where, when it comes to the rules, 48.13 overrides the rule. When the clerk of the course decides it is safe to call in the safety car, the message "safety car in this lap" will be sent to all competitors via the official messaging system, and the car's orange lights will be extinguished. This will be the signal to competitors that drivers that will be entering the pit lane at the end of the lap. What Massey is essentially saying is that Rule 48.13 overrides 48.12 because as soon as he calls for the safety car to come in, it is coming in, and its interpretation by Massey doing this is what has caught everybody by surprise. To most people, they see 4813 as just simply one area in which it has one rule, the policy of calling in the safety car. What Michael Massey has done is he has interpreted it as any time he wants to call in the safety car, he can do so because it will override 4812. Now, one of the big things, you look at all of Article 48 in the FIA sporting regulation, it covers the safety car and in total has 15 sections. The first 8 sections cover procedures on deploying the safety car. Sections 9 through 12 is the procedures for teams to follow, including the lap cars, the big one that's been in question. Section 13 is how to end the safety car, and it does appear it might be intended to override 9 through 12. Section 14 just states each lap counts under the safety car unless certain conditions, and Section 15 only covers the safety car being called out during the last lap. It is very common that you'll have rules and sometimes laws, including outside of motorsports, where a section will override another section. In this case, Article 48 covers the safety car from when it's deployed, the procedure all the teams follow, and the ending of the safety car period. So even with 15.3, which gives the race director overriding authority, it does appear he may have acted within his rule. Kobe, Adam. With the FIA plan to investigate and bring clarity, as they said, to, quote, not only Formula One that might benefit from this analysis, but also more generally all the other FIA circuit championships like Formula E, Formula 2. Is this the right move by the FIA to investigate?
Absolutely, Joe. I think it's the right move for the FIA to investigate this. And we do need to have more clarity because there was a lot of confusion at the end. Because at first, Michael Massey decided not to wave by the cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen, and then at the very last minute, he changed his mind. And for all of the purists out there, you really like to see once you make that decision, that's the decision. You don't flip flop back and forth between decisions. So at first, when Michael decided to not wave the cars by, I feel like that should have been the decision. That should have been it. And he decided to change his mind at the last minute for some odd reason that I don't understand at all. But I do think that this is welcome news for the FIA to investigate what went down at the end of the race. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around on the internet right now among the Formula One fan base, and I believe a full and thorough investigation by the FIA will give much needed clarity to a lot of people, everyone from drivers, teams, fans, everyone who's involved in Formula One, physically or emotionally. We all deserve answers from the FIA, and once they produce the facts, then it'll shut down some of the crazy conspiracy theories that we're seeing online.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with you, Kobe, on that. I mean, hopefully we'll get some more clarity from the FIA. There is a lot that Joe read, and I appreciate that, Joe. It was it's a lot to go over. I know it's not easy being a race director. Michael Massey does have a hard time, but I hope the FIA does investigate this. There's there's a lot there's a lot there's a lot there. So I believe the FIA will investigate this, and who knows if it will go to Paris or wherever. I mean, they really do need to investigate all the craziness that happened in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it totally appears that this investigation is going to address what happened at Abu Dhabi and hopefully bring clarity as is stated. If Mercedes was to go ahead and make that appeal tomorrow, essentially the big goals they have to show that the FIA Sporting Council was that the officiating was wrong in how they handled the safety car period. Essentially, their strategy is going to be this: a more stringent interpretation of the rules. So 48.13 is only activated when the conditions of 48.9 through 48.12 are completed. So that would mean 4812 would only be completed once the following lap has started with the safety car. You'll also make the argument 15.3 only gives overriding authority of the safety car when it comes to calling the safety car in and ending the safety car without shortening or cutting down other sections in Article 48. So they really just want to make it where the sporting director is limited to calling the safety car whenever it's needed and ending it as long as all those conditions under 48, 9 through 12, which are policies that cover the safety car period, are completed. Of course, the other third point they're going to make is that with Massey's interpretation is incorrect and can lead to disrepute for Formula One. As the FIA has said, they're investigating because this could be something that will affect all FIA championships, such as Formula E, Formula 2, Formula 3, all sorts of series that are impacted by this. Do you believe Mercedes will appeal? And besides the championship, this may not only, this is going to dictate how future races are officiating. Do you believe Mercedes will be appealing?
Well, they tried to appeal twice in Abu Dhabi and kind of struck out. So, they say strike one, strike two, strike three. I don't think Mercedes will appeal. We saw what happened Sunday, and if you weren't with us on our wrap-up show on Sunday, you should go back and watch because our colleague Joshua Burst was right on it when it came to everything that happened from Abu Dhabi. I don't think Mercedes will appeal, and it's gonna be interesting to see what goes on in the future.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see what goes on in the future. And I feel like if Mercedes was really going to appeal, they would have already filed the appeal by now instead of waiting to the very last minute. But stranger things have happened, and maybe since the FIA is planning to launch a full and thorough investigation into the events at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, maybe Mercedes won't appeal and they'll just let the FIA do their investigation, and whatever comes to that, if something went foul, we'll see in the FIA's report. But considering everything that's happening, like you said, Adam, they went through strike one and strike two that had both of their protests thrown out. Even if they do go to the FIA courts and appeal and take the case to Paris, I think it's highly unlikely that they're going to win that, and that's going to be the end of it, unless the FIA finds something malicious.
Now, that's a big thing. I think with the FIA launching this investigation, this essentially almost gives Mercedes an option. They could still appeal and hope that the FIA, now that they're investigating this, could strengthen their appeal, or they could just not appeal, say, hey, we're going to accept the results, accept the fact Max Verstappen is the world champion, and let the FIA do the work of the investigation. The big thing I think a lot of folks got to realize with the FIA, if they were to make this investigation and they didn't find anything wrong where it was malicious but just a mishandling, the chances of the results being overturned or changed are very slim. However, and this is my third and final question, starting with you, Kobe, if Mercedes does appeal and the FIA finds that the end of the race was handled improperly in the wrong manner, then how concerned are you that the championship may still be in dispute if the FIA says, yeah, this was not handled correctly, and Mercedes submitted an appeal?
Oh well, Joe. Regardless of how this turns out in the end, I think definitely that what definitely everything that happened at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is definitely it's a black eye for the sport, and I'm really hesitant to use those words because those are only in extremely serious situations. I don't really like to say that because it's a really harsh, dark phrase, but it was a black eye for the sport. Those antics at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I'm really concerned about Formula One's image moving forward to the world because Sunday's show was not a good sight at all for Formula One moving forward. And I alluded to this on our wrap up show. Look at Formula One's growth in the United States. It's been absolutely incredible. And knowing U.S. race fans don't like to, see that kind of stuff happening because I'm actually afraid it might turn off some fans. All of those new fans you got, even some fans who only traditionally watch NASCAR, just get into Formula One. After seeing that, I'm wondering, are they going to be just as invested in Formula One now as they were before the farce happened in Abu Dhabi? I really hope it doesn't come down to a point where the championship is going to be disputed. It, if the FIA finds something malicious between Red Bull and Massey, I pray to God that does not happen at all. If it does and something went wrong, it would really be super unfortunate, leave a sour taste on a lot of people's mouths if the championship were to be overturned and give Lewis Hamilton his eighth championship months after Max Verstappen and Red Bull celebrated the drivers' championship. But hopefully it was just bad officiating and nothing more than that at the end of the race because I don't know how Formula One can move forward if if they have to make a decision whether if a championship has to be overturned or not in court.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with you, Kobe. It was a black called it was a black eye day for Formula One. I believe it turned off race fans. Even though the ratings here in the United States, were some of the best, you know, that they've seen in a long, long time. It was a dark day for F1. Very, very much so. I think it. I think what we saw on Sunday in Abu Dhabi. I think it did turn off race fans a lot. I hope nothing gets overturned because to me, I believe Max Verstappen won his first world championship fair and square. Like I said on Sunday, you know, Mercedes had their eighth con- constructor championship, so I don't see why they've called Mercedes is acting like a 2-year-old right now. It's called uh, Max Verstappen won the F1 championship fair and square, and Mercedes should just let all this go and wait till next year to have Lewis and Max battle on track one more time.
I have to agree with you both. I feel with the FIA investigating this, they're saying, hey, we're committed to making sure this is clarified, this doesn't happen again. Mercedes dropped the appeal. Just, okay, we won the constructors. Congratulations, Max, because Max did nothing wrong. If anything, his team, they put him in that winning situation by taking the tires on that final stop in case there was going to be, because we didn't know there was going to be a restart. We didn't know if they were going to move the cars. I mean, it could have all been for nothing. But the team took the move. Mercedes, we were critical that they didn't. And next thing you know, it's a one lap shootout. It's no fault to the drivers. I believe the best thing is for the FIA to say, okay, here's what we found. Here's where we're correcting it. Hopefully, more clarity, especially late cautions. And going forward, we could just move on because at the end, controversy at the season finale, 1994, I remember that, 1997, especially Schumacher Villeneuve. When you look at it now, when people talk about Michael Schumacher and his 7 championships, they don't bring up the controversy usually unless we're talking about controversial finishes. Same with Senna and Prost. At the end, I feel long time from now, We'll talk about how exciting 2021 was, and particularly, it doesn't appear anything malicious to favor one driver was used in this race. So, of course, it has now been 3 days. Tomorrow will be the fourth and final day where we'll see if Mercedes will file the appeal. We will continue to follow this story right here on the Grid Network. Be sure to subscribe, especially to all our new subscribers. We're going to be on the air again with Grid tonight. And then, of course, 2022 with more program. Now, today, Max Verstappen, he arrived at Red Bull headquarters. Big victory celebration. The Orange Army was there. And Grid Network also wants to congratulate Lewis Hamilton for receiving knighthood today. Here is a look at Sir Lewis Hamilton and his mother as he becomes the fourth Formula One driver to be knighted, joining Sir Jackie Stewart, Sir Sterling Moss, and Sir Jack Brabham. Congratulations, Sir Lewis Hamilton, and once again, congratulations to Max Verstappen, the 2021 FIA World Champion.
Yeah, that was really cool to see Lewis Hamilton being getting knighted up there with some of the greats in F1 history and in overall motorsports history as well. And we thank you, Joe, for appearing on Grid tonight. Always a pleasure to work with you, and we will see you next time. And switching over from Formula One to the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series, when Taylor Racing announced their 2022 IMSA Acura DPI lineup, returning to number 10, Konica Minolta Acura DPI are regular drivers Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque. However, Alexander Rossi will not return in the Michelin Endurance Cup as an enduro driver, but will return to the team to see if he can defend his Rolex 2022 to defend his Rolex 24 at Daytona win earlier this year. Rossi's teammate and his race in F1, Will Stevens, will make his IMSA debut with Wayne Taylor Racing at the Enduros at Daytona, Sebring, and Road Atlanta. And in another IMSA news, Dragon Speed will switch over to IMSA and compete in the LMP2 competition category 2022. In the points running races, Juan Pablo Montoya will be teaming up with Hendrik Hedson at the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring. They'll be joined by JPM's teenage son, Hedman. Thank you, Kobe. Sebastian Montoya. And here's a picture with father and son. Since the Rolex 24 does not count toward the LMP2 standings, a different driver lineup will be used at the Rolex 24 at Daytona, which will be announced at a later date.
And the graphic you just saw was courtesy of Wayne Taylor Racing this morning. Many anticipated a major announcement from Jimmie Johnson after running the road and street courses in 2021, his rookie year in IndyCar open wheel racing. Johnson will become a full-time NTT IndyCar Series driver in 2022. That means the 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion will attempt the Indianapolis 500 for the first time. Carvana returns to sponsor the number 48 Chip Ganassi Racing Honda in 16 out of 17 race weekends. Graphic courtesy of Carvana Racing. American Legion will sponsor Johnson at Iowa Speedway. Johnson felt comfortable enough with the IndyCar safety innovations after being hesitant initially to compete on the oval tracks where you usually see some really nasty, massive stunts. Adam, were you surprised that Johnson announced he's running IndyCar full time instead of just adding the Indy 500 to his road and street course program?
I think it's pretty cool to see Jimmie Johnson compete full time next year. I mean, in the modern era that we're in, Johnson joins Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch as NASCAR champions to compete in the Indy 500. So three NASCAR champions that competed in the most hallowed race on Memorial Day weekend. It's pretty cool. But I can't wait to see how Jimmie Johnson does full time next year. The high speed oval at Texas Motor Speedway. He has competed there in the NASCAR Cup Series. He'll run at Iowa Speedway next year, which is really cool. So I can't wait to see how Jimmie Johnson does the number 48 Carvana racing car. I say good luck to him, and we'll see how he does. It's awesome news.
Yeah, it's definitely some awesome news for the world of motorsports. And if you told me 5 years ago that Jimmie Johnson would be a full-time IndyCar driver going for the IndyCar Championship, I would have laughed at you, because this is something that I don't think anybody saw coming. I think we were all surprised when Jimmy announced that he was retiring from NASCAR to go race in IndyCar part-time on the road and street courses. And Jimmy, after doing some testing on some oval tracks in the IndyCar and getting used to the IndyCar on the road and street courses, I assumed today's announcement was just going to be, I'm just adding the Indy 500 to my road and street course program. That's exactly what I expected to hear from Jimmie Johnson this morning on the Today Show on NBC. But when Jimmy said that he was running the full schedule, I was absolutely shocked. I did not see that coming at all. I assumed that Tony Kanaan was just going to be in the 48 on the ovals like he was this year in 2021, but it looks like TK is going to be with Ganassi in a fifth CGR entry in the Indianapolis 500. So TK looks like he's still going to be with the program. And Jimmie Johnson is really going to be interesting to see how he gets on the oval tracks. It's definitely an exciting day for motorsports. And team owner Chip Ganassi is also thrilled to have Jimmy back for another year after getting a season of IndyCar experience under his belt. Ganassi thinks Johnson's time getting used to the IndyCar in 2021 and his past experience racing NASCAR on ovals will play right into his wheelhouse. In his rookie season in IndyCar, we saw Johnson go from running well off the pace to becoming more competitive and making several overtakes in testing. He set competitive lap times at Texas Motor Speedway and did an excellent job in his rookie orientation program at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The photo taken by Chris Owens from Penske Entertainment. Adam, given Jimmie Johnson's years of NASCAR oval racing experience and success, do you expect Johnson to be more competitive on the ovals than the road and street courses?
Yep, I do. Like I just mentioned, Jimmie Johnson's competed, when Jimmy was competing in the NASCAR Cup Series, he ran at Texas Motor Speedway. So he knows about, the high speeds at that oval in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think it's going to be sensational. Iowa Speedway is a short oval. First time that the NTT IndyCar Series has been there for a few years. Hopefully in the future, IndyCar will have more ovals on its schedule. Because Jimmie Johnson, when he's full time in the NTT IndyCar Series for many years to come, if IndyCar wants to add more ovals, Johnson has competed at the Milwaukee Mile in NASCAR Xfinity car back in the day. There's so many ovals that the NTT IndyCar Series could go to, but I say good luck, Jimmie Johnson. I can't wait to see how you do on the ovals, especially at Texas Motor Speedway, a track that the speeds of the IndyCar will produce over 200 miles an hour. So I can't wait to see how he does. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, incredible is definitely a great word to describe this entire situation. And I'm actually really surprised that Jimmy's going to be comfortable racing at Texas Motor Speedway, the high banked oval. And as we know, with the NASCAR track compound has really ruined that track for the IndyCar Series, where it's basically just that one groove racetrack. So no room for errors. And you need to make sure you time your overtakes at the perfect moment, or you could get involved in a really hard crash, or as we saw earlier this year, the chaotic start where we saw multiple contenders crash out of the race, and Connor Daly was upside down coming across the line to take the green flag at the initial start. It was just really chaotic, but I think we're gonna see Jimmie Johnson grow a lot this upcoming season as an IndyCar driver. It's really amazing to see how far he's come. From Barber Motorsport Park, the very first race of the season, Jimmy was off the pace compared to most of his competitors, and by the end of the season, Jimmy was getting closer to mid pack. He was making overtakes. He was no longer the slowest driver out there, and he was making a lot of progress. Really interested to see how he does this upcoming season on the road and street courses to build on the success there. But given everything he's done in NASCAR, used to the style of oval racing, now he's getting used to the open wheel car. I think Jimmie Johnson on the ovals is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think he'll be way more competitive, and I think this year for Jimmie Johnson, this may be setting the bar too high, but I think he should shoot for top 15 finishes in IndyCar. I think it's definitely possible on the ovals at Texas, Indy. I, am not sure about Gateway or Iowa yet. I'm not sure if he's competed at those tracks yet. But Texas Motor Speedway, Indianapolis, he's had a lot of success, knows those tracks well, and I think Jimmie Johnson is definitely going to be one driver to watch next year in IndyCar. And some more IndyCar news that dropped today with the departure of Astor Sullivan. Delcoin Racing announced a new partnership with HMD Motorsports. As you can see right here in the image provided by the team, here's the number 18 Honda that'll be driven by Indy Lights graduate David Malukas, who grew up about 10 miles away from Delcorn Racing's shop. Malukas had a great championship battle with Kyle Kirkwood this year, and they'll continue that next year in the NTT IndyCar Series with Kyle Kirkwood racing for AJ Foyt Racing.
And I think David Malukas will, I think the rookie class next year in the NTT IndyCar Series will be just as good as we saw this year. Can't wait to see how all three of those drivers came from Indy Lights, to see how they do next year in the NTT IndyCar Series. And now to some news from overseas. Logan Sargent will graduate to the FIA Formula 2 Championship in 2022. After racing full-time in the FIA Formula 3 Championship for the past 3 years, Sargent moves over to F2 with Kaulig Racing. Sargent drove for Kaulig in his maiden F3 season, including a podium finish in the historic Macau Grand Prix. Along with his duties at driving for Kaulig Motorsports in F2, Sargent will also be in a Williams F1 test driver. Sargent got behind the wheel of an F1 car for the first time Monday in Abu Dhabi. And now, for the last time in 2021, here's Matt White with a Grid World Motorsport League update.
Hi everyone, Matt White here from the Grid World Motorsport League. The champion has been crowned then. Jamie Chadwick is the 2021 Grid World Motorsport League champion. We already knew going into the weekend that she was the champion, but now our races have concluded for the year with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for Formula 1 and Formula 2, of course, over the weekend. So Jamie Chadwick is our champion. She finishes on 19.63 points out of a possible maximum score of 25. And so she is the champion. We did have one change in the top 10 over the weekend. Max Verstappen's controversial win, some might say, on Sunday at Yas Marina has jumped him to second over his Red Bull stablemate Shane Van Gisbergen, the Repco Supercars champion, and he jumped in by 0.1 of a point, 18 to 17.9. for Shane, who's been second for the last handful of weeks. He slips to third in the final standings. No other changes in the top 10 below that. Lewis Hamilton got close but didn't quite overrun top rank Razgatli Oglu, the World Superbike champion. A win would have done it for Lewis, but he stays in 5th position. So 2 Formula 1 men in our top 5. Sebastian Ogier 7th, the World Rally champion and the winner of the grid ranking. Congratulations to Seb. And that's the next big thing to look forward to, is WRC Monte Carlo in the middle of January. That's our first big race of the season. We'll be doing a big preview for that in the new year on the network, so keep your eyes peeled for that once we get into January. Do check out the grid_WML Twitter page over the next couple of weeks between now and Christmas and New Year, because we'll be counting down the top 100 from the big old spreadsheet that's been running all season long to decide the champion. That is Jamie Chadwick. Congratulations to her. We'll say that as we wave goodbye on 2021 from World Motorsport League land of the grid portion of the grid WML portion of our content. Jamie Chadwick's the champion. So Merry Christmas to her. Merry Christmas to everyone from me, and a Happy New Year and all the celebrations over the next couple of weeks. And we'll talk to you again in 2022.
Happy holidays to all of our friends and viewers over in the UK. Thank you for that, Matt. It's been fun watching the Grid World Motorsport League throughout the 2021 racing season. And next, some news coming out of NASCAR. Kaulig Racing provided more information about their 2022 NASCAR Cup Series driver lineup. Photo taken by Stacey Revere from Getty Images in a number 16 Chevrolet Camaro. 3 Xfinity Series drivers who made this year's championship 4 will share that ride. Talk about an all-star car. And those 3 drivers are AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Noah Gragson, who will run 14 Cup races, with Allmendinger and Hemrick filling out the rest of the schedule. AJ Allmendinger, as you remember, gave Kaulig their first Cup win last year and a stunner at the IMS road course. Gregson's going to be attempting the 2022 Daytona 500 with Beers Motorsport for the second consecutive year. And also a good thing for Gragson, we're going to get more Cup races this year in a competitive Kaulig ride. And Daniel Hemrick's getting a second chance in the NASCAR Cup Series after his tenure with RCR failed. Which driver is most likely to benefit the most from the Kaulig Cup ride?
I think it's going to be AJ Allmendinger. Like you said, Kobe, he won earlier this year at the IMS road course in a stunner. All I can say is those 3 drivers, AJ Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, and Daniel Hemrick, watch out, because I believe that team will win next year. And I don't believe it's going to be one race. I think it's going to be multiple races. We saw what Kaulig Racing did at the super speedways, Daytona and Talladega. You want a surprise pick from me for the 2022 Daytona 500? I think if AJ Allmendinger is in the 16 car for that race, he could be a solid pick to win. And also, I wouldn't count him out of places like Sonoma and Watkins Glen. So those 3 drivers of Kaulig Racing, that is a caliber all-star lineup. I can't wait to see how they do in 2022.
Yeah, definitely a high caliber all-star driver lineup, and actually, I think I was a little bit too hard said that Daniel Hemrick failed at RCR. Daniel Hemrick actually did a decent job, all things considered, but Tyler Reddick at the time was one of the hottest young drivers in NASCAR with enormous potential. And at the time, Reddick had a lot more potential at the time over Hemrick. So RCR decided to drop Hemrick and go with Tyler Reddick. But that doesn't mean that Daniel Hemrick necessarily failed. So apologies for misspeaking there. And actually, I'm going to go opposite of you, Adam. I'm going to say that Daniel Hemrick is going to benefit the most for the reason I just laid out. He got dropped from RCR because they believe that Tyler Reddick had a lot more potential than Hemrick. And I think this will be a great opportunity for Hemrick to go out there and show that I should have never lost my Cup ride, that I'm a very talented driver, and I can race with the best of the best in the NASCAR Cup Series. And that's exactly why I think Daniel Hemrick has the most to benefit from getting an opportunity to race in the NASCAR Cup Series with Kaulig Racing and winning that championship in the Xfinity Series this year, and also getting his very first career win in the NASCAR National Series. Really shut up all the haters who kept wondering if he was gonna win a race, wondering if he belonged in NASCAR. And I think next on his list, Daniel Hemrick is gonna shut up the haters and shows that he belongs in the NASCAR Cup Series. And Justin Haley, the other driver in the full time Kaulig car, is going to be driving the number 31 Chevrolet. And last week, Kaulig made another announcement regarding their Xfinity Series program. Longtime underdog driver Landon Castle will replace Jeb Burden in the number 10 Chevrolet with sponsorship from Voyager, one of the fastest growing cryptocurrency platforms in America, graphic courtesy of Kaulig Racing. And Landon Castle is going to be joining AJ Allmendinger and defending Xfinity Series champion Daniel Hemrick at Kaulig Racing. And Landon Castle is getting his true first shot in his racing career to compete for wins and an Xfinity Series championship. Adam, could Landon Castle follow in the footsteps of Ross Chastain and turn around his NASCAR career?
Absolutely. And congratulations to Landon Castle. This is a ride that I think a lot of race fans want to know. Landon Castle has competed in the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series, but really hasn't had that good ride. And next year, he's got it with Kaulig Racing. Don't be surprised if Landon Castle wins a few races next year and competes for the Xfinity Series championship. He is now a big time driver competing at a team that last year competed for the Xfinity Series championship. So Landon is a driver that you'll want to look out for next year in the Xfinity Series in 2022. I say he wins at least 2 to 3 races and makes it all the way to Phoenix to compete for the championship for.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see what Landon Castle can do in a race winning and championship contending ride. And this just goes to show for all of the drivers out there who work so hard, sacrifice everything to make it to the highest level of racing and get in the best equipment possible. It's to never give up, because I remember when Landon Castle first came into NASCAR circles in the mid to late 2000s, and Landon Castle, I remember he got some opportunities with Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, got some opportunities as well as a test driver for Hendrick Motorsports. He knows what it's like to be behind the wheel in good equipment, but for the most of his career, he hasn't really been in that good equipment. He's been in like mid pack equipment for the most part, or equipment that typically runs towards the back. And I think that this is going to be the best opportunity of Landon Castle's career. And I think my prediction, I'm going to go a little bit lower in race wins than Adam. I think maybe one to two wins reasonable. I don't know if he'll make the championship four, but I do expect that he'll make the playoffs and continue all of the success we've seen in Kaulig Racing so far. And Landon Castle's obviously a big time fan favorite, and he's no longer going to be one of the top underdog drivers, because when you drive a Kaulig car, you're not an underdog. You're one of the top competitors in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and I think that this is going to be a golden opportunity for Landon Capital to go out there and capitalize on this incredible opportunity for his racing career moving forward. And James Hinchcliffe announced that he'll no longer compete full time in the NTT IndyCar Series. And in a statement, James Hinchcliffe said, in 2011, I realized a lifelong goal of becoming an IndyCar driver. I remember almost every minute of the journey getting there. There were many ups and many downs. Through all the challenges and uncertainty, there were two constants: my unabated desire to make it to IndyCar and my family's unwavering support. In the 11 years that followed, I lived out my dream in a way that a 9-year-old kid sitting in a cart for the first time could have never imagined. With a decade plus of incredible memories in the bank, I am happy to announce that I'm stepping away from full-time IndyCar competition. This was not a decision taken lightly, and it was one made with full support of my family and close supporters. There were many factors, both personal and professional, and that led me to the decision, but it truly felt like it was right. This is by no means a retirement from racing. If anything, this decision has freed me up to dip my toes into other forms of motorsport and explore other interests and opportunities. More on that coming soon. I want to thank my teams, teammates, competitors, the IndyCar Series officials, staff, and volunteers, sponsors, supporters, and of course my family. And last but not least, the fans of IndyCar racing. Without any one of these groups of people, my time in IndyCar would not have been possible. Thanks for the memories, and I hope to see you all at the track. Signed, Hinch. And James Hinchcliffe is believed to be exploring potential opportunities in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
Won't be the same without Hinch on the grid next year. But moving over to some NASCAR news, another fan favorite, driver known as the Onion, two-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion Todd Bodine. It will be coming back to the series for the first time since 2013. Bodine will be competing. Bodine will run 6 races for Halmar Friesen Racing, with Camping World as his sponsor. He'll compete in races at Las Vegas, Darlington, Texas, Sonoma, Nashville, and Pocono. So it'll be cool to see a fan favorite return to the NASCAR grid next year. As many of you know, I'm the Repco Supercars expert here at Grid Network. And this day, 10 years ago, the Repco Supercar Series lost a great man, great driver, a well-known driver in the supercars community. His name was Jason Richards. Jason died of a rare form of cancer on this date in 2011. Jason and his co-driver at the time, Angus Fogg, made their supercars debut with the now defunct Team Kiwi Racing at the 2000 Bathurst 1000. They finished in 16th place. In 2001 was Jason's first full-time year in the Repco V8 Supercar Series. Driving for Team Kiwi Racing, the number was 021, and it was a Holden Commodore. Jason and his co-driver again, Angus Fogg, finished 16th again at Bathurst 1000. Jason Richards only had one career win in the series. That came at a reverse grid race in Winton Motor Raceway. In 2010, before the event at Simmons Plains Raceway, it was announced that Jason had a cancer diagnostic, was battling cancer before the penultimate round at St. Ann Motor Raceway. In 2011, Jason Richards had to step away from his ride at Brad Jones Racing because of his health, but returned to compete at the non-points event at Albert Park in association with the F1 Australian Grand Prix. In race 2, he finished second, right behind Garth Tander. Later on that year, Jason competed in the Fujitsu Series, what we now know as the Super 2 Series, in Greg Murphy Racing, Holden Commodore. In the second race of that weekend, he won, and the grandstand went crazy. Jason was well beloved in Supercars garage area and paddock. One of the most nicest drivers that you'll ever meet. He's still talked about to this day among the Repco Supercars garage area. He is surely missed at this time. Godspeed, Jason. You're up there now with the greats of motorsports and having a blast. Kobe, Time to wrap up another edition of Grid Tonight.
Yes, another episode of Grid Tonight in the books. Please be sure to like and subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We encourage you to visit our Patreon page and invest in us. Big shout out to Colin, Mark, Dishell, and Robin for supporting the Grid Network. We really appreciate everything you've done this entire year in 2021 and looking forward to having you continue to support us in the upcoming new year in 2022. Be sure to check out Pablo's and consider spoiling your furry friend to have dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescued dogs. Public.com is a stock market social media home. The link below and referral code will give you $5 to invest immediately. Public.com allows you to connect with your friends. You can make new friends, and you can use tools to learn how to properly invest in the stock market. Do you want to buy me a coffee? Click the link in the video description below, and you can buy a drink for your favorite on-air talent here at Grid Network, and any amount will help us continue growing our motorsports media outlet. And with that said, for Adam Lemerise and Joe Samaniego, who you saw earlier in the program, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, Public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on Public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on Public.com.